All right, welcome back everybody to this Thursday live stream with TIA. My name's Jonathan Baker. I'm the Senior Director of Education here at TIA. I'm joined by various members of the membership committee. They're going to be going into, why it's important to show up to the TIA conference, reminiscing about the first time they got to go way back when, all those fun things. David's going to actually host this session, but I'm going to run through the housekeeping that we need to do before we get started here. We'll go with our antitrust first. So discussion, comments, and presentations during TI functions must not, 1, refer to any past, present, or future rates, prices, or anything related thereto. 2, include any reference to marketing strategies. 3, include any discussion of boycotts of any person, product, or firm. Or 4, inhibit any members' employees from discussing employment with other member companies. Things shared during the meeting that are confidential and private to TIA should not be shared publicly without its prior consent or used against or in competition with TIA. As you can see up here in the corner, this live stream is sponsored by DAT, and we have a quick commercial that we will run for them before we jump right into our topic for today.
Freight isn't static, it's dynamic. It evolves. Today, freight brokers have more on the line, and they need to act faster than ever before. Rates move, capacity shifts, and customer expectations never slow down. That's why, for decades, brokers have trusted DAT. Now, we're evolving to serve you better. We've brought together innovative companies and brilliant minds obsessed with solving broker problems. And we've accelerated how quickly ideas become products. All to create a one-stop shop for trusted capacity, automation, and real-time insights. That means the largest, most secure carrier network in freight. It means full visibility to give your customers peace of mind. It means simplified execution to keep pace with a fast-moving industry. And real-time market insights to anticipate changes before they happen. DAT Freight and Analytics. We take the uncertainty out of freight.
All right, thank you to DAT for sponsoring today's live stream. One last housekeeping note, if you are on LinkedIn or YouTube, you can put your questions right into the comments. We will be able to see them. We're gonna hold all of them until the very end. We'll ask all of those questions to this group whenever we get to them, probably around halfway through the hour. But with that, David, I will hand it over to you, sir.
Awesome, thank you, Jonathan. All right, everyone, so we're super excited. I'm joined here by a group of, fellow, just really cool people, honestly, is how I like to describe them. We're all friends. We're also on the TIA's membership committee. And so we've been meeting monthly over the last several months, and we're talking about value, not only the value of the TIA membership, but the value of the TIA membership as it pertains to the conference. And so, we're all obviously big fans of not only TIA, but the TIA conference as well. And so as we were walking through that and talking about that, we were talking about, and reminiscing about what our first TIA conference was like, the feelings, the emotions, everything we had. And so that's what this is. It's just going to be a conversation. And so I guess I can introduce myself. So my name is David Abel. I'm the president and CEO of AM Transport Service. We're a small boutique brokerage located in Southern Illinois. Michael, you want to introduce yourself?
I guess you could introduce me. I'm Michael Mecca with PJT Logistics. The one thing that David forgot to mention too, he's a fellow board member of mine at TIA, so I don't want to let that go by. I'm also a board member with David with the TIA. We've been around for a while. PJT Logistics is a property broker. We're out of Edison, New Jersey. We got offices throughout the country, and we have some assets on the drayage side. I'll pass it on to Adam.
Yeah, I'm Adam Abate. I'm with Creative Transportation. We're in San Ramon, California. We're a freight broker. Been around for 26 years. I've been involved in the business and the industry for about 19. And I've been, to be friends with Michael and David for a number of years. I've known David for about maybe 15 years or so, and been very, privileged to know him, and he's helped me throughout the years in business, and just been great to kind of been mentored by him throughout the years. So yeah, thanks for having me.
I didn't pay him to say that. Carly, you're next. You're up.
Oh, great. Thank you. I'm Carly Gallagher with Avalon Risk Management. We're an insurance partner to the industry. So Avalon's been a longtime vendor and platinum sponsor for the TIA. So we provide insurance programs specifically only to the logistics industry and also the surety bonds. We handle the TIA bond program as well for TIA and its members. So it's been great to be on the membership committee with David and Michael and Adam here. And I think I might be having some tech issues, so I apologize for that if that happens. But I'm located out of New York, and I've been with Avalon for almost 19 years and going to the TIA conference about that long as well.
Awesome. And so Carly actually emailed me late last night to remind me of this. Not that I would have forgotten it, but what year was that, Carly? 2011?
2012, I think.
2012. So so Carly was Avalon is also gracious enough to present a scholarship for folks who are in the industry. It's an essay, and they select them, and then Avalon basically pays for folks to attend the TIA conference for the first time. How long have you guys been doing that, Carly?
That's a good question. I can't tell you the exact amount of years, but that David actually won that scholarship in 2012. That was the first time that we got to meet. So it's longer than that.
Yeah. So small world. Carly was presented. We have a photo of us up there where Carly presented it to me in 2012, and so that was actually my first TIA conference that I attended. So who else? Mike, when was your first conference? We were talking about that.
Oh God. I don't remember the exact year. I could tell you it was San Antonio. So I'm thinking it probably was about the same time.
Yeah. I'd say so.
That years, because I think a few weeks ago, ironically enough, we have a group chat, and I guess I could segue into this. We actually, Adam, David, and I are part of this group chat that says it's from the TIA, and over the years, we've added people into our group chat. And again, not that I'm jumping ship here on why it's so good to go to this TIA conferences, but it's, the relationships that we've just formed and friendships personally in this group chat over the years. So I would say San Antonio was one of my first years way back. And I was very young. I was probably 24, 22, not really knowing anybody there and jumping head first. And it was and I have been going back ever since, which has been great. When was yours, Adam? I haven't.
It's funny you say that, because I think it might have been that same year. Was that 2013 or 2012?
2012 was San Antonio. Yeah. I have a
Yeah,
photo
I think that might have
of
been the same year.
Oh, that's what I forgot. Not to cut you back off, Adam, is that in that group chat only a few weeks ago, out of nowhere, David sends a picture of him standing in front of the Alamo. He's like, "Oh, this is my first year at TIA." And then we have this little joke going around, and I send my picture. I literally took the same exact picture in front of the Alamo back then too. So we had some jokes about digital cameras or whose cell phone to use. So
I think I had a BlackBerry.
Destiny.
yeah, it's just kind of funny. But sorry to cut you off, Adam.
No, so it's great, right? And we all know in the industry, it's all about the relationships, right? And so whether you're talking about customers, carriers, employees. That's what we're all about, right? That's the business we're in. I don't know a freight broker personally. I've never heard a freight broker tell me that they're anti-relationships, right? Like that's not their kind of secret sauce is relationships. This is a heavy relationship business. And it took me a while to figure this out, but I would also say that, some of the relationships that I have with other brokers, right? Other executives at other brokerages, whether it's the owners or high level executives, I would put that right up there with the relationships that I have with my carriers and with my customers. It's a little interesting though, right? In our industry, because if you zoom out and you look at it, you're like, why would I attend a 2,000, plus person event of my competitors? Like what could I possibly talk about? What could I possibly gain? Am I just going to be high alert the whole time? Are these people going to steal my customers? Like how is this going to be helpful to me? And so, let's just spend a few minutes and talk about that. Like, how do you guys reconcile that? And do you guys find that weird, on the surface level as well?
No, I never have. I guess the 30,000 above, it does sound a little weird, right? When you're attending something that technically we're all competition and all brokers, but over the years, it's just this business is so relationship based because it's not about work. It's not about, I'm not going to tell you who my shippers are or trust. It's more of like, hey, Dave, what do you handle in this situation? Have you ever been in this situation? And it's, you feel confident of, your fellow colleagues to the TIA because the stature of just we hold such a high stature of being TIA members that I think I've talked this about in the past that like I could literally give my whole customer list to both David, Adam, anybody else, and I know they won't go near them. And I'm very confident of that. And I could really, truly say that about TIA members. It's not about, it's about helping each other. Different times, and with Carly on it, insurance scenarios. Carly has always been a confidant of mine. She's my sales rep. I met her when I was like 18, 19 years old. We were both starting in the industry together. She was actually one of the, first people say you should really, join and start going to the conventions at TIA. But yeah, it's just a support system. Like even going back to that group chat that we all have, right? It's always like, hey, have you ever heard of this one? Hey, have you ever heard of this? Or anybody know a warehouse in, Sheboygan, Wisconsin? Can help me out. I got a truck stopped. And, it's that relationship that helps we all help each other grow. So I just find it so important to attend this. And just, again, these relationships are, professional relationships, but just they've become personal relationships. Like I consider you guys, everybody else, like true friends of mine.
And I would even add to that. I think I failed to say in the beginning, but the relationships with the vendors as well, right?
Sure.
Carly's representing on the vendor side, and it's just so important because, right, when things are going great, it's just like what we say in trucking, right? It's when the truck, there's no issues, right? It's fine. But whenever there's an issue, that's when you really test a relationship. I think it's the same thing can be said with the vendor that you have. I wish everything was always perfect in the insurance world, but it's not, right? And so having that face-to-face interaction, and even if it's only, once or twice a year, that really means something and it adds something. Carly, you want to talk about it from your side, the vendor side?
Absolutely. Yeah. Thanks, David. I mean, two things. First, I just want to comment on the broker relationships because I think Michael's example is perfect. Of all of us, we're young 20-somethings attending the conference for the first time, which can be very overwhelming, especially I know in Mike's situation, he went as the only representative from his company, not knowing anybody else at that time, which can be intimidating. And it's been incredible to watch the journey of people like Mike and so many brokers who are now board members for the TIA on so many committees and truly have this group of friends and colleagues that I don't see it, just to echo what you said, as everybody looking at each other as competitors there. everyone is like-minded by having the interest to even spend the time and invest the time and money to go to the conference. So everybody's looking to collaborate and find solutions together. So I think it's incredible to actually watch that take place, that so many brokers are leaning on each other to say, hey, how are you fighting fraud? Like, how are you resolving this? What vendor are you using for this? And it's like just an amazing support network of brokers helping each other in that way. And then on the vendor side, yeah, I mean, I couldn't agree more. For us, it's of course such a fantastic opportunity to strengthen our relationships with our existing clients and meet new clients. Even for us as vendors, like we build relationships with attorneys that are there, with software companies that are there, of what are new and innovative things that we can be collaborating on, with finding new legal counsel to help defend our claims. I think there's just so much going on in our industry between fraud, technology changing, that being there at the conference and having these conversations, you end up solving problems. You realize you're not alone in having that problem, and everyone else is experiencing the same thing. So.
Awesome. So what, I want to make sure that, and I could talk to all you guys the rest of the day, but I want to make sure we have some like just kind of meaty, actionable stuff for folks that are tuning in. And so, Adam, what advice would you give first time attendee, just drinking from the fire hose, right? Like they just download the app. I don't think the app's out yet, but they're going to get the app. They're going to download it. They're overwhelmed with, all these people, all these sessions.
Yeah, I mean, I would say, that it is, so as a first-time attendee, right, you look at like, you see all the sessions, and, when I first attended, I initially thought like, I had to like sign up for these classes, and that they were like pretty strict schedule. And, I didn't realize that, you could kind of like go in and out of them. Right. And there was a lot of these that you go in and you realize like, man, this is not kind of what I thought it would be. And so it's not maybe as strict as you thought that it was. So you can kind of go in and out of the classes as you feel, maybe it's not something that you thought that it will. Don't feel like you're hurting anyone's feelings if walking out of a class. Also, I would say do some research on some of the vendors and the exhibitors in there before before you go, because that can also feel overwhelming, right? Going in there instead of just kind of wandering around aimlessly. I always go through the exhibitor list and kind of target that I'd be interested in, right? Because you don't want to go in there and be sold something that you don't really need, right? We all walk out of there with demos that we don't want to, we have time, time is money. We don't want to waste our time. So go in there and, with some intention and, do your research in advance. It can be very overwhelming. So I would say, those are, some advice, I would give some first time attendees.
No, that's great. So, an asterisk with that, and I don't know if a lot of people realize this or not, but, the exhibition hall, it's only open at certain times, right? And so, especially you look at it on the app, and you're like, oh, this is fine. I have plenty of time. You really don't, right? Once you get in there, you start having good conversations. And so I think that's great advice of being intentional about the folks that you want to talk to, making sure that you have the time to talk to them, because it is, it's a relationship. You see somebody, you see a vendor. And honestly, I don't think I don't know, Carly, you may have a better perspective on this than I do. I look at it as, a salesperson, right? Like I don't sell, software for brokers or anything, but I don't want to waste anybody's time, right? When I'm trying to talk to a shipper, and I don't want them to waste my time. And so I think it's fine to just be upfront and open with folks of like, hey, I'm really not interested in this right now, or, hey, maybe this is something that I can grab your card. We can talk about this when I get back, but I really need to go over and see this person right now.
Absolutely. And there's nothing wrong with that at all. Oh, sorry. Can you hear me okay? So I was just going to add to that the exhibit hall, especially the first night that it opens on Thursday night, I find that I think it's a 3-hour session to be the most electric night of the exhibit hall. Like everyone is there and on the floor. I think Michael mentioned this before, that he likes to do a lap around the entire exhibit hall and see everyone who's there to get a good feel for it. But I just want to add to that too. If you are really intending to speak to a certain vendor and you don't get a chance to have a longer conversation on that first night, make sure to go back to the sessions on Friday. There's 2 sessions on Friday, earlier in the day and later in the evening, because it tends to be a little quieter in the exhibit hall on the second day. So if you're looking to have a more in-depth discussion or demo from, say, one of the software providers, you might have a better chance at that time, as the first night is the busiest. But yeah, don't be afraid, and if you don't know what a vendor does, don't be afraid to just walk up and ask what they do and find out more. There might be a solution that you didn't even realize you needed by having that conversation. And I don't think anybody is trying to sell too hard at the booth. Like everyone's just looking to make connections, exchange information, and follow up after the conference if there is a viable connection.
Yeah, I'm going to add to that, Carly. I'm a big proponent of asking questions, finding out what people do. But, getting back to like advice for new members, first time attendees, hit the ground running. Use this opportunity. Go to almost everything you possibly can. We're in a relationship-based world. Obviously at night, everybody's at the Hotel Circle Bar. But more importantly, like in the morning, we have a newcomers meeting. I remember my first time I went to that newcomers orientation right before we got out to the it's like the cocktail hour reception, the pre-reception hall, and just ask questions. Hey, what do you do? When I first there, I was a small, little 2-man broker. I didn't really know my vendors. Yeah, we had subscriptions to stuff. This is the perfect opportunity to actually meet your vendors who you don't have a personal relationship with in the exhibit hall, your insurance agents, again, all your tech guys, to kind of put the name of the face, say, hey, I'm a customer of yours. What else are you doing? What do you got this year? I jump in and out of everything. I try to meet as many people as possible. And again, you may click on something, you may find something that you're not doing, that you should be doing. Everybody's in our business. I've learned everybody has a niche. Everybody's operation is different. So I've stolen a lot of ideas from David. I've stolen ideas about it. Over the years, you just talk and you kind of like, oh, we could do that in our office. So like I should have my people do this. So, and I think it's really important to just, walk around.
It's a networking event.
Yeah, just really network and don't be afraid. And, it's not like you're.
And people expect that, right? People expect, hey, what do you do? Where are you from? I'm still an old school business card guy. I know there's all the newfangled taps and digital stuff, and that's fine, right? You can get through it. I'm still an old school business guy. I'll have a pocket full of business cards. We'll exchange and talk about it. I remember my first couple conferences. I would have those McLeod notebooks that they would give out, just full of just things I would write down. I'd be in every session, just writing it down, and because there's just so much information that you're learning. A lot of these, the majority of the presenters in these sessions, they're operators, right? They're folks in the weeds. They've been doing this for decades, and they have tons of stories to tell. And setting in there, listening to that, it's going to spark something of your own business. So I would encourage you. It's so easy, right, to go back to the room. It's a really nice place. We've all got work to be doing, and it's so easy just to go back and be like, you know what, I'm going to take the rest of the afternoon off, catch up on email. Don't do it though. I would encourage you, don't do that. The work will wait. Put your out of office on. Tell the folks back in the office, because you'll regret it. You really will. The conference goes by super fast.
And I just want to add to that, if I can. I think that being intentional and doing as much as you can, like Adam mentioned, do your research before the conference. Like look at the agenda. When this event app is live, go through and you can actually plan your itinerary, and it can be flexible. It can change when you're there, but take the time, like when you're on your plane ride, your long ride out there, take a look at it, because I find that there's so much education that sometimes it can be overwhelming to say, okay, I can go to 4 different sessions right now. I can go to 4 different networking lunches. Which one am I choosing, and have a plan? Because sometimes then I think people can almost get paralyzed in not making a decision and say, I'm just going to go do emails for an hour instead because I don't know which one to go to. So I would say just put in a little bit of time to really look at the agenda and make a game plan for yourself of what you want to learn and who you want to see.
And again, just go up to people and start talking. Go up to TIA staff members. They're the best, right? And again, I'm not trying to plug anybody, but they have all the information. They're so, that's what I did. I met Paul and Chris when I was, my first things. I just asked questions like, how could I get involved? You could join committees right away. It's a great network. If you're a first-time attendee, and there's just a lot to offer to get involved. And I just felt so welcoming and warming my first convention. I really did in San Antonio. I remember Sean Rock from Rock Logistics was I met him. He was one of the only persons that I know, and his father was a board member at the time, and they brought me out to dinner, a nobody, regardless if I'm a customer or not. And they didn't make me pay for dinner. And it was just like so welcoming and warming that, like, because I was a first time attendee, it's not about competition. We want the members, we want as many, resources as possible here with TIA. I really do feel like that. And I've always felt like a home, like, there's been other associations you feel very cliquey or outside-ish, or the outside member. Here it's very, very warming, welcoming. Even though there's a lot of people, a lot of vendors, but you'll find you'll always come back with something. Now, I've been in this business my whole life. Every year I come back with something new. I think that's most important too.
I think you bring up a great point too, Michael, of don't be afraid to tell other people you're a first-time attendee.
Sure.
I think sometimes we walk into situations wanting to act like we're so experienced and have been doing this forever. You will be amazed at how much people are willing to help by being a first-time attendee and introduce you to people and show you the way, or recommend different sessions you should attend or people you should go and meet. So use that to your advantage. And like they said, walking up to the TIA staff and asking questions. If you see any of us there, feel free to come up and introduce yourself to us, and we'll show you the ropes too. But truly, it's an organization that everybody is willing to help and make connections.
100%. So rapid fire questions. When presented to the opportunity, is it one more drink at the bar? Should they or should they not? Mike, what do you think?
I should.
Carly, what's your vote?
Self-control. That's all I'm going to say there. Self-control, but definitely. Again, relate. All right, go to Carly. I don't want to keep that rapid fire.
I was going to say my intention is always should not. It usually ends up should.
Yeah. Adam, what do you think?
If Sean Rock is paying, then it's 2 more drinks, I think.
So in all seriousness, though, that's what you're battling, right? It's time, right? It's and so some of those the most meaningful connections, people really let their hair down, and they kind of tell you the true story of what's going on. Of that's in a small group, that's an intimate setting, right? That's after they build trust with you, and so I would encourage you to really seek out some of those relationships as well.
Yeah,
don't be afraid to ask questions with other people. I mean, it's okay. I would say, like, one thing I was most surprised about, this association is like how open people are with sharing things about their business. With like, how much like revenue they're making, and like, how open they are with sharing information about their business. They're not going to, give you, their biggest customer's name and contact information, nothing like that. But, sharing information about how they're operating and, helping peers within the organization. I mean, it was pretty amazing to me, once I really started talking to people, within the TIA. So I would say, be open, to talking to people and asking questions. Don't be afraid.
What about clothing? What about the attire? Mike, what do you think?
That's all Carly.
Comfortable shoes, ladies. You're on your feet all day long. I think the conference has actually gotten a lot more casual, that it doesn't have to be suit, high heels for ladies. You can wear flat shoes. Honestly, it's hot in Phoenix. I think a lot of people are wearing like their company, short sleeve polos is totally acceptable. So I think, of course, looking sharp, but being comfortable and comfortable shoes is important.
Mike, you bringing the suit?
I
Yes.
always bring a nice jacket for nighttime, but we are in Phoenix. The one thing about attire that I kind of like is seeing everybody from around the country and Canada of how they actually, that's actually a pop-up discussion that we always have, like over the last couple of years. Hey, what's your office attire now? Has it been downplayed? Are you guys in polos? Are you guys, in just hoodies, relaxing? So just keep it as you were going to work each day. That's kind of how I deal with it, with attire. But yeah, definitely a lot of walking, comfortable on the feet. But other than that, just be comfortable yourself.
Yeah,
that's definitely, what I say, be yourself.
Also, leave some room in your suitcase because the TA conference does have good swag, right?
Oh, yeah.
So if you're into the swag, this is a good conference. So make sure you can take it back on the airplane.
And giveaways.
Very true.
What are you guys? Digital business cards? Or are you still old school too?
Old school.
Old school
business.
Yeah.
Old school business cards.
Yeah.
All right. Interesting.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Carly.
I was just going to say with the swag and giveaway, Avalon's actually the water sponsor this year. So when you come in to register and get your name tags at the beginning, we always have a booth. So I'll be there Tuesday afternoon and all day Wednesday with my colleagues. And so you'll get a nice tumbler to stay hydrated while you're in Phoenix. But that's a nice opportunity too. If you have any questions as a first timer, I'll be there at that table too if you want to introduce yourself.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys for the great conversation. I think Jonathan's going to jump back in. You are on mute, Jonathan.
You're on mute, Jonathan.
Thanks, guys. Well, it happens at least once, right?
Yeah.
All right, we got a couple of questions here. What is the one session you're looking forward to the most this year? Carly, I'm going to start with you for a shameless plug, I think.
I was going to say mine might be a little biased. I'm moderating a panel on Thursday afternoon, so come attend. No, it's going to be a great topic. Stay protected on fighting fraud and compliance pressures from shipper contracts. So I'm really looking forward to that, and we have a great lineup of speakers on that panel.
I always like the big opening session. I that kind of gets me charged up, going, hearing Chris come out and just giving the heads up on what to expect for the weekend and seeing everybody for the first time. So I like the big opening general session. I always did every year. That's my go-to.
Agreed.
Adam?
Yeah, for me, I might be boring to some people, but I always look forward to the economic update and also the game show. It's fun hearing new ideas from people. That's always a good one. So.
Oh man, all good answers. So many. So I've got a 9-year-old son that's a huge sports fan, right? And so, we've got Brian Urlacher, we've got Muggsy Bogues. It's super exciting. Looking forward to Chris Burrows' fireside chat with OIDA. The TIA has done a fantastic job of trying to bridge that gap right now. Advocacy, there's so much good stuff going on right now in advocacy. And, I think for a long time, I just felt overwhelmed by it. I didn't quite understand it. And so the TI conference is a great opportunity for you to, just ask somebody, like, what is this stuff? What's Delilah's Law? What is this stuff? And, everyone is more than happy to explain that.
I just wanted to add one other thing. Michael mentioned this briefly, but on Wednesday at 4 p.m. is the newcomers orientation. So I think as a first timer, that's a really important one to put on your agenda. It's the first, main evening when you get in, but it just gives about an hour to go through what to expect of the conference, like how to navigate the conference floor, the sessions. So I think when you get there and you're actually like on the ground, go to the newcomers orientation and you'll feel a lot more comfortable with the days ahead.
And it's a really easy way to talk to people about the sessions ahead.
And a tip, if you're ever feeling lost, overwhelmed, you don't know what to do, you don't know where to go, just hang out in the hotel, like the foyer, by the bar area, and I guarantee you'll see somebody that you either know or that wants to talk to you.
It's all TIA people.
From 7 a.m. in the morning with coffee or 7 a.m. at Starbucks. So that's a big one too. Yeah.
That's a good tip. Get to the Starbucks line.
There's going to be a long line every year. There's always a long line out Starbucks for coffee.
Exactly. So that's actually a perfect tip. Go early for your Starbucks. Don't go 5 minutes before your session.
Tip, not to knock. There is free coffee if you go down at 8 a.m. for the breakfast. So you can always get that. You don't have to get Starbucks.
All right. Let's see here. What's happening at this year's conference that makes it different or more relevant than in previous years?
I can take that one. I honestly, I think that the economic update, I'm super excited about that because, this is literally changing daily, right? And so I'm sure, Mr. Broughton's going to have to edit his slides. He's probably edited them every day now, right, in order to prepare for this thing. And so that's always the $1 million question, right? What's the crystal ball? And so I look forward to it every year, and I think this year is even more relevant, right? Are we continuing in the trough? Or are we coming out of it? And then what can we expect for the rest of the year?
Yeah, I think we could all agree. David, Adam, and myself. I know Carly, you're in the insurance, but I every day in this business right now over the last 3 weeks, I don't know what to expect. I don't know how to navigate. So this year, more important than any, there's always, something in our economy and our industry that we want to go and see. But I think this year, there's just been so many changes, and it's really interesting on the fraud side too, just kind of getting an update on that, what people are seeing, how we're navigating through that. I know TIA is doing a great thing with their fraud hotline right now on data. So just kind of learning a little more about that, how they've, hooked up with the FBI, which has been a great resource for everybody. And then, this economic update is really, really big. Like piggybacking off David, it's, if you're a broker right now, I think now than ever is the more important time to come to this. Just like, that's my thing every year is like, I feel like I'm alone, right, throughout the whole year. But then when you come here, it's like, oh, these guys have the same problems I do. These guys are doing, the same thing we're doing, or the same hurdles that we're having. There's a cash flow issue. What do you do with that? So I think this year is very important. It's definitely an interesting year for brokers.
You always find out you're not alone.
At the right time too, because like I said, this has been just like the last 3 weeks has been crazy.
Yeah.
Jonathan, do you think anyone's going to be talking about AI at the conference this year?
Yeah.
Hey, what?
For sure. Yeah, for sure. Lots of questions about that.
I just wanted
go ahead, Carly.
Can I piggyback on that? One thing I wanted to mention too is not only what everyone said here with the fraud and knowing what the technology companies are really doing to help combat that. It's a really interesting time too with the Supreme Court hearing for the F4A case on preemption and brokers' vicarious liability. So there's not a resolution on that yet, but it's a really interesting time for brokers to be hearing where that stands, talk to some of the attorneys that are there, what their opinions are in the different districts, and what we think is going to come of this, because this could be a huge win for brokers in terms of vicarious liability if it ends up going that route.
And also too, the new updated bond, Carly.
Absolutely.
That's huge. The new laws for the bond of, only 7 days to really report and get back.
Exactly.
I'm on the services board, and Mike's been coming on, keeping us updated this last year. So he's really giving us some good information there. So looking forward to talk to him.
All right. We'll finish with this
Absolutely.
one.
Yeah, with those changing
Yeah.
regulations, it's been a huge change.
Yeah. So we'll finish with this one. I'll kind of
Sorry,
do
I
a
think my
round
time
robin.
was a little off.
No, that's fine. If someone is still on the fence about registering and attending Capital Ideas, what's one thing you think you would tell them to convince them to come and join us? David, you want to start?
Oh man, I personally think it'd be some of the best money you could spend this year. Just the education, the friendship, the networking. I'd say do it. I know we're all busy, right? Myself included. Figure it out. You can do it. Your business will be better in the long run. Sometimes we have to not only work in the business, we have to work on the business. And if you could spend, a couple days at the TA conference, it'll definitely pay off dividends.
Thanks, David. Carly, I'm just going in order on who's on my screen right now.
Yeah, I would say if you're on the fence, just do it. I think that you just might make a connection and meet somebody or solve a problem that you maybe didn't even know you had that could really change your business for the better.
Awesome. Adam?
Yeah, I mean, made some great friends over the years, and like Michael said, I mean, I'm in a group chat because of it, and I solve like some regular issues that I have in my business because of going to the TIA, and that is invaluable to me. And it's all because I went to the TIA conference, and I can't like put a price tag on that. So I would say, this is money, well spent. And also to add on to it, I mean, wherever you are in the country, like the weather's probably better in Phoenix. So. Go.
Yeah.
Very true.
Fair. Mike?
Yeah, there's really not much left to say. Just I guess going from my perspective, way back, there were a few years that I was on the fence. I didn't go, and I finally did. I've been going every year since. So it's just do it. I think they still have daily rates. I don't want to say they do, but even if you just go for the day just to check it out, it's totally worth it. It really is. So if you're going to come back with great relationships, great education, which is the most important, more than ever nowadays. And you like I said prior, you're going to get something out of it every year. And I've been in this business my whole life. I've been with PJT now for 25 years. I come back with something new every year from the convention. Always something, whether it's technology, whether it's a relationship, or just something that we had an internal issue throughout the year, and an insurance issue from Carly just helping us out. Didn't know that we can. So it's definitely just do it. I don't know. Have anything else to say about it?
No, I think that's perfect. Thank you, David, Carly, Adam, Michael, for taking the time to speak to everyone today about joining us next week in Phoenix. We will be taking a week off from our live streaming schedule. There won't be any live streams next week. We'll be back, I think, April 20th or 21st with another one. So until then, thanks, everybody. We'll see you then.
Thank you, guys. Thanks for having me.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.